Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. In the world of American coins, there are moments when the smallest object can carry the biggest story, and few coins invite curiosity, quite like the 1997 D1 cent coin from the United States of America, a simple penny at first glance, light in the palm of your hand, often ignored in pockets, drawers, and jars, yet carrying with it layers of history, design meaning, metal science, minting technology, collector psychology, rumors of extreme value, and a fascination that has kept people searching their change for decades. Imagine holding a coin that millions of people have touched, a coin born in the late 1990s when America was standing at the edge of a new millennium. The internet was just beginning to reshape daily life, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins not just as money, but as silent witnesses to history. The 1997 D1 cent coin is part of that story, and to understand why people talk about it, why some believe it could be worth unbelievable amounts, and why collectors still examine it closely today, we must slow down and look at every detail, every gram, every line, every symbol, and every moment that led to its creation. This coin is officially known as the Lincoln Cent, a design that first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. By 1997, the Lincoln Cent had already been in circulation for nearly 90 years, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The obverse, or front side, of the 1997 D penny features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed originally by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's face appears calm and thoughtful, gazing to the right, symbolizing leadership, unity, and reflection. Above his head appears the word liberty, a core value of the United States, while the phrase "I in God we trust" runs along the top rim of the coin. Just to the right of Lincoln's portrait is the date 1997, and beneath that date sits a small but important letter, the mint mark D, indicating that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint itself has a rich history. Established in the early 20th century, it became one of the most productive mints in the United States, striking billions of coins for circulation. In 1997, the Denver Mint was operating at full efficiency, using modern high-speed presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute. The presence of the D Mint mark is more than just a letter. It is a clue, a fingerprint that ties the coin to a specific place, a specific facility, and a specific moment in American industrial history. Collectors often pay close attention to mint marks because production numbers, quality control, and even the likelihood of errors can vary from one mint to another. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design used from 1959 until 2008, the Lincoln Memorial. This design was introduced to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and remained in use for nearly half a century. On the reverse of the 1997 D penny, the Lincoln Memorial stands tall and centered, a symbol of remembrance and national unity. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a remarkable detail considering the small size of the coin. Above the memorial appears the phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," a motto reflecting the unity of the states. Along the top rim is the inscription "United States of America," and along the bottom rim is the denomination 1 cent. Every letter, every line, and every curve was engraved with precision, yet the coin was never meant to be admired closely by most people. It was meant to be spent. The physical characteristics of the 1997 D1 cent coin are another important part of its story. The coin has a diameter of approximately 19.05 millimeters, a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters, and a smooth edge without reading. Its weight is approximately 2.5 grams, a figure that reflects a major change in U.S. coin composition that occurred in 1982. Before that year, most U.S. pennies were made primarily of copper. However, rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. The 1997 D penny is composed of about 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, with the copper forming a thin outer plating. This composition gives the coin its familiar reddish-brown color when new. Although circulation, oxidation, and wear can change its appearance over time, in 1997, billions of pennies were produced across all U.S. mints, and the Denver Mint alone struck an enormous quantity of 1997 D cents. This high mintage is one reason why the coin is often considered common in everyday grades. Yet common does not mean uninteresting, and it certainly does not mean worthless in every circumstance. The coin's journey from mint to pocket is where much of the intrigue begins. During mass production, small mistakes can occur, and it is these mistakes, known as mint errors or varieties, that can transform an ordinary penny into something far more desirable. Collectors search for errors such as doubled dies, where design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die-making process. Off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly centered during striking. Clipped planchets, where part of the metal blank is missing, and die cracks or die breaks, where damage to the die creates raised lines or blobs on the coin. While most 1997 D pennies are perfectly normal, a tiny fraction may exhibit such anomalies. These errors are not intentional, and that unpredictability is part of what makes coin collecting so exciting. Each coin becomes a small mystery, inviting inspection under magnification. Beyond errors, condition plays a crucial role in determining value. Coin condition is measured using a grading scale that ranges from poor to mint state, with mint state coins showing no signs of circulation wear. A 1997 D penny that has never been circulated and retains its original luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces can be more desirable to collectors than one that has been worn smooth by decades of use. Some collectors specialize in high-grade modern coins, seeking the best possible examples for registry sets. For them, even a common date penny can become valuable if it is nearly perfect. Now we come to the topic that fuels imagination and drives countless online searches. The idea that a 1997 D 1-cent coin could be worth an extraordinary amount of money, even figures as high as $241 million. Stories like these spread rapidly, especially in the age of social media and video platforms, where headlines compete for attention. The thought that a simple penny could change someone's life overnight is powerful. It encourages people to check their change, dig through old jars, and look more closely at coins they once ignored. While such extreme valuations are often based on misunderstanding, exaggeration, or fictional scenarios, they play an important role in keeping interest in coins alive. They remind people that history, rarity, and human perception can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. To understand why such numbers are mentioned at all, one must understand how value is created in the numismatic world. Value is not just about metal content or face value. It is about rarity, demand, condition, provenance, and story. A coin that is unique, or nearly unique, especially if it has a dramatic error or a fascinating backstory, can achieve prices that seem unbelievable. Throughout history, certain coins have sold for millions of dollars because they are the only known examples of their kind, or because they are connected to important historical events. When people talk about a penny being worth hundreds of millions, they are often blending real numismatic principles with imagination, asking the question, what if a coin existed that combined extreme rarity, perfect condition, and a story that captured the world's attention? As the story continues, the 1997 D 1-cent coin begins to reflect not only the physical object itself, but the era in which it was born. The year 1997 sits in a fascinating place in American history. The Cold War had ended, the economy was expanding, technology was accelerating, and optimism about the future was widespread. Coins minted during this time were produced in enormous quantities because everyday commerce still relied heavily on cash. Credit cards were common, but digital payments had not yet taken over daily transactions. Pennies flowed constantly through vending machines, grocery stores, gas stations, and payphones, passing from hand to hand millions of times a day. Each 1997 D penny became a silent traveler, witnessing small moments of everyday life across the nation. The Denver Mint. The process of creating these coins was highly technical, yet deeply traditional. Large coils of metal were fed into machines that punched out blank discs called planchets. These planchets were carefully measured to ensure proper weight, because even a tiny variation could cause problems in vending machines or counting equipment. Once punched, the planchets were cleaned, dried, and fed into presses where enormous pressure forced the engraved designs of the dies into the metal. The strike had to be precise. Too weak, and the details would be soft. Too strong, and the metal could flow improperly, creating distortions. In 1997, quality control systems were advanced, but perfection was never guaranteed. That small window for imperfection is where collectible varieties and errors are born. The dies used to strike the 1997 D penny were themselves works of craftsmanship. Master dies were created from original hub designs, and working dies were made from these masters. Every step introduced the possibility of minute variations. A slightly misaligned hub could create doubling. A tiny crack could form after thousands of strikes, eventually transferring a raised line onto the coin. Grease or debris could fill parts of the die, causing missing letters or numbers. These were not mistakes in the sense of carelessness, but natural byproducts of mass production. For collectors, these tiny flaws are often the most exciting features of a coin. When examining a 1997 D penny, collectors often use magnification to study Lincoln's portrait. They look closely at the lettering of Liberty and I in God We Trust, checking for doubling or unusual thickness. The date 1997 is carefully inspected, especially the shape of the numerals and the placement of the mint mark. On the reverse, attention focuses on the columns of the Lincoln Memorial, the steps, and the tiny seated statue. Any unusual marks, distortions, or raised lines can spark interest. Even the surface texture matters, as smooth, lustrous surfaces indicate a coin that may never have circulated. Condition, or grade, is one of the most important factors in determining how a coin is perceived in the market. A circulated 1997 D penny typically shows wear on Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and coat, as well as flattening of the memorial details. Such coins are common and usually worth face value. Uncirculated examples, however, can show full detail and original mint luster, with microscopic flow lines that catch the light. These coins are often stored in rolls, mint bags, or collector albums. At the highest levels of preservation, where a coin shows virtually no imperfections, the value can rise significantly compared to face value, though still grounded in reality. The idea of market value is deeply connected to supply and demand. Because so many 1997 D pennies were produced, supply is extremely high. Demand, on the other hand, is relatively limited, mostly coming from collectors completing date and mint sets or searching for errors. This imbalance keeps typical values low. However, the market is not static. Interest can rise due to trends, social media exposure, or renewed fascination with coin collecting. When people hear stories of rare coins selling for extraordinary sums, curiosity spreads, and more eyes turn toward everyday coins like the 1997 D penny. Rumors of extreme values often originate from misunderstandings about auctions, grading, or error coins. For example, a listing online might show an asking price of hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, but an asking price is not the same as a realized sale. Sometimes a coin is mislabeled, or a photo shows a different year or mint mark than claimed. In other cases, people intentionally exaggerate values to attract attention. Over time, these exaggerated figures can evolve into legends, with numbers growing larger each time the story is retold. The figure of $241 million fits into this pattern of myth-making, representing the ultimate dream of hidden wealth. Despite the myths, there is a real educational value in these stories. They encourage people to learn how coins are made, how they are graded, and how markets work. A person who starts by searching for a $1 million penny may end up learning about die varieties, minting history, and the importance of accurate information. In this way, even exaggerated claims can serve as a gateway into genuine numismatic knowledge. The symbolism on the 1997 D penny also deserves deeper reflection. Abraham Lincoln's presence on the coin connects everyday commerce with ideals of unity and perseverance. Lincoln led the nation through one of its most difficult periods, and his image on the penny serves as a reminder that value is not always measured in money alone. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse reinforces this message, standing as a monument to memory and national identity. When these symbols are carried in pockets and purses, they quietly reinforce shared cultural values. Collectors often speak of the emotional value of coins, which can be just as important as monetary worth. A 1997 D penny might remind someone of their childhood, a specific year, or a moment in time. For others, it represents the thrill of searching, the hope that something extraordinary might be found among the ordinary. This emotional connection fuels the hobby and keeps people engaged even when financial rewards are modest. As the market for coins continues to evolve, influenced by online platforms, grading services, and global communication, modern coins like the 1997 D penny occupy an interesting position. They are old enough to have history, yet new enough to exist in vast quantities. They challenge collectors to look closer, to distinguish the truly special from the truly common. They also remind us that value is not fixed but shaped by human interest, knowledge, and imagination. With each examination of the 1997 D 1-cent coin, the story grows richer. From the minting presses of Denver to the hands of collectors and dreamers, the coin carries layers of meaning far beyond its size. The journey is not just about discovering what the coin is worth today, but understanding why people continue to care about it, talk about it, and search for it. And as this exploration continues, the penny remains a small but powerful symbol of history, curiosity, and the endless human fascination with hidden value. As we move deeper into the story of the 1997 D 1-cent coin, the focus naturally shifts from how the coin was made and used to how it is studied, evaluated, and discussed in the collecting world. Coin collecting, or numismatics, is not just about ownership. It is about observation, patience, and understanding patterns that most people never notice. The 1997 D penny, while common on the surface, becomes far more interesting when placed under careful scrutiny. Collectors often begin by separating coins by date and mint mark, laying them out in neat rows, slowly building a visual map of production across years and mints. In this context, the 1997 D penny becomes a piece of a much larger puzzle point. One of the first things collectors consider is strike quality. Even among coins of the same date and mint, the sharpness of detail can vary. Some 1997 D pennies show strong strikes, with crisp lines in Lincoln's hair, clear separation in the letters, and well-defined memorial columns. Others appear softer, with slightly blurred details, especially on the highest points of the design. These differences are the result of factors such as die wear, striking pressure, and the condition of the planchet. A strong strike can significantly improve a coin's desirability, particularly in higher grades. Surface preservation is another critical factor. Tiny marks, known as contact marks, occur when coins bump into each other during production and transport. While such marks are common, their number, size, and location matter greatly. A single mark on an inconspicuous area might be acceptable, while multiple marks on Lincoln's face can drastically reduce a coin's grade. Collectors examining a 1997 D penny often tilt it under light, watching how reflections move across the surface, revealing scratches, spots, or imperfections that are invisible at first glance. Color also plays a role, especially for copper-plated zinc cents. When new, a 1997 D penny would have displayed a bright red color. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes the copper surface to darken, shifting through red-brown to brown. Collectors often categorize cents by color designations, and while color alone does not determine value, it contributes to overall appeal. A well-preserved red example from 1997 can be more attractive to collectors than a dull, dark brown one. Even if both are technically uncirculated, the search for varieties adds another layer of fascination. While the 1997 D penny is not widely known for major varieties, minor variations can still exist. Differences in mint mark placement, letter spacing, or die characteristics can create subtle distinctions. Some collectors specialize in identifying and cataloging these small differences, contributing to a deeper understanding of how coins were produced. Each discovered variety adds a new chapter to the coin's story, even if it never achieves widespread fame. Error coins, however, are where excitement truly peaks. Imagine finding a 1997 D penny struck off center, with part of the design missing and a crescent of blank metal showing. Or a coin with a dramatic die crack running across the surface, creating a raised line that looks like a scar from the minting process. There are also errors where the coin is struck on the wrong type of planchet, resulting in incorrect weight and color. These pieces stand out immediately and can command premiums far above face value. While such errors are rare, Their existence keeps collectors searching tirelessly. The concept of grading brings structure to the evaluation process. Professional grading services use standardized scales to assess coins, encapsulating them in protective holders with labels that describe their grade and attributes. A 1997 D penny that achieves a high mint state grade can become significantly more desirable, particularly if it is among the finest known examples. Population reports, which track how many coins have been graded at each level, can influence market perception. If only a small number of 1997 D pennies are graded at the highest levels, competition among collectors can increase their value. Market dynamics are influenced not only by collectors, but also by broader economic and cultural factors. During times of economic uncertainty, interest in tangible assets like coins can rise. During periods of nostalgia or renewed interest in history, modern coins may receive increased attention. Online platforms have made it easier than ever for collectors to buy, sell, and discuss coins, spreading information rapidly. A single viral post about a rare error or a high-grade example can spark widespread interest in a specific date, like the 1997 D penny. The idea of extraordinary market values, such as claims of hundreds of millions of dollars, often emerges from a misunderstanding of these dynamics. In reality, even the most valuable coins achieve their prices through a combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and intense demand among wealthy collectors or institutions. While the 1997 D penny does not fit this profile in typical form, the conversation around such values reflects a deeper human fascination with transformation, the belief that something small and ordinary can become something extraordinary under the right circumstances. Education plays a crucial role in separating myth from reality. Knowledgeable collectors understand how to verify claims, compare auction results, and consult reputable references. They know that true value is determined by completed sales, not rumors or listings. This knowledge does not diminish the excitement of collecting. Instead, it enhances it by providing a framework for informed discovery. When someone examines a 1997 D penny with this mindset, every detail becomes meaningful, regardless of the final price. There is also a social aspect to coin collecting. Collectors share finds, debate interpretations, and celebrate discoveries together. A 1997 D penny found in exceptional condition or with an unusual error can become the centerpiece of discussion in online forums or local coin clubs. These conversations build community and preserve collective knowledge. They also ensure that even common coins continue to be studied and appreciated as the narrative unfolds. The 1997 D 1-cent coin stands as a bridge between mass production and individual discovery. It reminds us that while millions of identical coins may exist, each one has its own journey, its own marks, and its own potential to surprise. Whether examined for educational purposes, collected for enjoyment, or discussed in stories of incredible value, the coin continues to capture attention. And as we move forward in this exploration, the layers of meaning only grow deeper, revealing why the humble penny remains one of the most compelling objects in American numismatics. As the exploration continues, the 1997 D 1-cent coin begins to reveal its role not only as a collectible object, but as a reflection of human behavior, belief, and the way stories evolve over time. Coins have always carried more than monetary value. They carry trust, authority, and memory. When the United States places a coin into circulation, it is making a promise that this small piece of metal represents value backed by an entire nation. Over time, people add their own meanings to that promise. And with the 1997 D penny, those meanings range from simple utility to extraordinary dreams of hidden fortune. One reason the penny captures imagination so strongly is its accessibility. Unlike gold or silver coins that may feel distant or exclusive, the 1-cent coin is something nearly everyone has handled. The idea that a life-changing discovery could be hiding among such common objects is powerful. It speaks to a universal hope that luck, observation, or persistence might be rewarded. In this way, the 1997 D penny becomes more than a coin. It becomes a symbol of possibility. Every jar of spare change becomes a treasure chest in the mind of the dreamer. The psychology behind value plays a major role here. Humans are naturally drawn to stories of transformation, where something ordinary becomes extraordinary. This is why tales of rare coins, winning lottery tickets, or valuable antiques found in attics spread so quickly. The penny, because of its low face value, amplifies this effect. The gap between 1 cent and millions of dollars is enormous, and that contrast fuels fascination. Even when claims are exaggerated or untrue, the emotional impact remains strong. In the case of the 1997 D penny, the rumors of extreme value often revolve around hypothetical scenarios. What if a unique error occurred during production, creating a one-of-a-kind specimen? What if a coin was struck on an unusual metal, or with a dramatic double impression, and somehow escaped detection for years? What if such a coin surfaced at a time when demand was at its peak, drawing attention from wealthy collectors around the world? These questions are speculative, but they highlight how value can theoretically escalate under rare conditions. They also show how imagination fills the gaps left by limited information. The real market for coins, however, operates on evidence and documentation. Auction houses, grading services, and collectors rely on verified examples and recorded sales. A 1997 D penny that is claimed to be extraordinarily valuable would need to be examined, authenticated, and compared to known examples. Its story would need to be supported by facts, not just excitement. This process can be rigorous, but it ensures trust within the collecting community. Without such standards, the market would be overwhelmed by false claims and inflated expectations. Yet even within this structured environment, surprises can occur. Coins that were once overlooked can gain attention as new information emerges or as collecting trends change. Modern coins, including those from the late 20th century, are increasingly studied as earlier generations of collectors shift focus. The 1997 D penny, once considered too new to matter, now represents a specific moment in time that is slowly receding into history. As years pass, fewer pristine examples remain, and the context in which the coin was used becomes part of its story. The economic environment also shapes perception. In times when inflation rises or confidence in paper money fluctuates, interest in physical currency can increase. Even base metal coins like the penny benefit from this renewed attention, as people seek tangible connections to value. While the intrinsic metal content of a 1997 D penny is minimal, its symbolic value as legal tender and as a historical artifact remains intact. This dual nature keeps it relevant. Another layer of interest comes from the educational role of the penny. For many collectors, the penny is the starting point. It is affordable, abundant, and rich in variety. The 1997 D penny can serve as a teaching tool, demonstrating concepts such as mint marks, die wear, error types, and grading standards. Through this lens, its worth is measured not in dollars, but in knowledge gained. A single coin can spark a lifelong interest in history, economics, and art. Stories of extreme value, even when inaccurate, can act as catalysts. They bring new people into the hobby, encouraging them to ask questions and learn more. A person who begins by searching for a $1,000,000 penny may end up studying genuine rarities, understanding why certain coins are valuable, and appreciating the discipline behind numismatics. In this sense, the myth and the reality coexist, each feeding the other. As we reflect on the 1997 D 1-cent coin, it becomes clear that its significance lies not in what it is worth today, but in what it represents. It represents the intersection of mass production and individual curiosity, of history and imagination, of fact and story. It shows how value is not a fixed number, but a concept shaped by culture, time, and belief. The journey of this coin is ongoing. Every year, more coins are lost, damaged, or melted, while others are preserved and studied. Every new collector brings a fresh perspective, and every new story adds another layer to the narrative. The 1997 D penny continues to circulate not just in commerce, but in conversation, memory, and imagination. And as this exploration moves forward, the humble 1-cent coin remains a powerful reminder that even the smallest pieces of our daily lives can carry profound meaning and endless fascination. As the narrative deepens further, the 1997 D 1-cent coin begins to stand at the crossroads between personal experience and collective history. Every coin carries marks of its journey, and while many of these pennies have passed unnoticed through countless transactions, Each one has interacted with human hands, decisions, and moments in time. A penny dropped on a sidewalk, saved in a child's first coin album, or stored away in a roll by a careful collector all follow different paths. Yet they originate from the same presses at the Denver Mint in 1997. This idea alone adds a quiet richness to the coin story. When collectors talk about coins, they often speak of eye appeal, a term that captures something difficult to measure. Eye appeal is the immediate impression a coin gives when seen under good light. Two 1997 D pennies with identical technical grades can feel very different to the observer. One might glow with even color and smooth surfaces, while another may appear dull or spotted despite having the same amount of wear. This subjective element of collecting reminds us that value is not purely numerical. It is shaped by human perception, taste, and emotion. The long-term survival of the 1997 D penny also depends on how people treat it. Because pennies are often considered low value, they are more likely to be mishandled, dropped, or discarded. This reality means that high-quality examples become scarcer over time, even if the original mintage was enormous. Each year that passes reduces the number of coins that remain in pristine condition. This gradual attrition subtly shifts the balance between supply and demand, especially for collectors seeking top-condition pieces. Another important aspect of the coin story is its role in discussions about the future of the penny itself. In the decades since 1997, debates have intensified over whether the 1-cent coin should continue to be produced at all. Rising production costs and changing payment habits have led many to question its practicality. In this context, the 1997 D penny becomes part of a historical chapter that may one day close. Coins from the late 20th century could be viewed differently if the penny eventually disappears from circulation, transforming everyday objects into artifacts of a bygone monetary system. This possibility adds another layer of interest for collectors and storytellers alike. The thought that a coin once dismissed as insignificant could later be studied as a relic of an earlier economic era reinforces the idea that time itself can change value. While this does not guarantee dramatic financial appreciation, it does ensure lasting historical relevance. The 1997 D penny captures a moment when physical currency still dominated daily transactions, a moment that future generations may study with curiosity. The global perspective also matters. Although the 1997 D penny is an American coin, interest in U.S. coins extends worldwide. International collectors often seek examples from different periods of American history, and modern coins provide insight into contemporary design, manufacturing, and culture. The Lincoln cent, with its familiar imagery, serves as a recognizable symbol of the United States. Even a common date like 1997 can hold meaning beyond national borders. Stories continue to circulate online about incredible finds and unbelievable prices, blending truth, misunderstanding, and imagination. These stories thrive because they resonate with a deep-seated desire to believe that opportunity is everywhere, even in the smallest places. The 1997 D penny becomes a vessel for that belief. People examine their coins more closely, not just hoping for wealth, but engaging in an act of attention that is increasingly rare in a fast-moving world. In that sense, the penny encourages mindfulness, curiosity, and learning. Collectors who stay in the hobby long enough often come to appreciate this deeper value. They learn that while financial rewards can be satisfying, the true richness lies in knowledge and connection. Understanding how a coin was made, why it looks the way it does, and what it has witnessed over time can be deeply fulfilling. The 1997 D penny, studied carefully, offers lessons about industrial processes, national identity, economic change, and human imagination. As this part of the journey unfolds, the penny stands quietly at the center of a wide network of ideas. It connects past and present, fact and myth, individual curiosity and shared culture. Whether held by a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, it invites questions and rewards patience. And while not every question leads to a fortune, each one leads to greater understanding. The story of the 1997 D 1-cent coin continues to expand, shaped by every person who looks at it with interest rather than indifference. In that ongoing process, the coin fulfills a role far greater than its denomination suggests. It becomes a reminder that meaning often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone to pause, look closer, and imagine the possibilities that lie within even the smallest piece of metal. As the journey reaches its final stage, the 1997 D1 cent coin stands fully revealed not as a miracle object of instant wealth, but as something far more enduring and meaningful. After exploring its origin, design, production, market perception, myths, psychology, and cultural role, what remains is a deeper understanding of why this small coin continues to hold attention. The penny becomes a mirror reflecting how humans assign value, how stories are born, and how history quietly lives inside ordinary things. Time is the final and most powerful force acting on the 1997 D penny. Each passing year moves it further away from the moment it was struck at the Denver Mint. What was once new becomes old. What was once common becomes harder to find in original condition, and what was once ignored gains historical distance. This slow transformation does not happen overnight, but it is constant. Coins survive longer than most objects of daily life, and because of that, they carry memory forward. A 1997 D penny can outlive its original owner, passing through generations as a physical link to the past. The idea of worth, often expressed in numbers, feels smaller when placed next to this perspective. Whether a coin is worth 1 cent, $1, or a hypothetical sum that captures the imagination, its true significance lies in the story it tells. The 1997 D penny tells the story of late 20th century America, of mass production balanced with human curiosity, of stability mixed with hope, and of a society where even the smallest unit of money carried national symbols and shared values. For collectors, the end of the search is never truly the end. Every coin examined builds experience, sharpens the eye, and deepens appreciation. The 1997 D penny may be a stepping stone, a teaching piece, or a quiet favorite. It may never become a headline-making rarity, but it does not need to. Its role is to invite attention, to reward patience, and to remind us that learning often begins with the simplest objects. For dreamers, the penny remains a symbol of possibility. Not because it promises guaranteed riches, but because it represents the idea that value can exist where we least expect it. That idea has power beyond money. It encourages curiosity, optimism, and the willingness to look closer at the world around us. In a fast, digital age, the act of slowing down to study a small coin becomes almost revolutionary. When the myths fade and the facts settle, what endures is respect for the craft of minting, the weight of history, and the quiet beauty of continuity. The Lincoln portrait still faces right, calm and thoughtful. The Lincoln Memorial still stands on the reverse, steady and symbolic. The words liberty, Indiana God we trust, and e pluribus unum remain unchanged, linking generations through shared ideals. The 1997 D penny carries all of this silently, without demanding attention, yet always ready to be noticed. In the end, the 1997 D1 cent coin reminds us that value is layered. There is face value, market value, historical value, emotional value, and educational value. Not all of these can be measured, but all of them matter. When someone holds this coin and considers its journey, its meaning expands beyond metal and numbers. It becomes part of a larger human story, one that connects past, present, and future through something as small and simple as a penny. And so the story closes not with a final price or a dramatic discovery, but with understanding. The 1997 D1 cent coin endures as a quiet witness to time, a spark for imagination, and a lesson in how even the smallest things can carry great significance when we choose to look closely.